All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So this is a viewer request video. You can kind of tell which one is the outlier here, but look, I've always said it. I do not care what stock you guys want me to ask for. I am just wildly humbled and appreciative that people actually care about my opinions. You know what I mean? So the first two stocks are relatively connected. It's QS and IONQ. Both of them really are part of this like quantum stock sector. And look, QBTS crushed it. All right, I'm not going to cover this one. I actually just covered it not that long ago, and sadly I missed it. But it was a little bit higher actually. It was in the double. It was closer to 22% last time I saw. But nonetheless, look, the quantum stocks might be picking up as the AI stocks are kind of figuring out if they're going to go up or down. You know what I mean? So QS makes sense. IONQ makes sense. The last one, look, CGC. Bad things happen under the 8 and the 20, and that stock is obviously having some like news stuff that's bad as well, but technically speaking, that one's just looked rough for a minute. Okay, that said, before we go any further into the details, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We're going to take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how this thing is setting up short term. There are 5 moving averages. I will draw some horizontal support and resistance lines. This is the first time I'm covering this stock here. And then when I'm done up here, I'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this thing with your friends, comment good or bad. I'm telling you, anything you can do really does help me out, and it really does do big things with these algorithms, okay? So look, let's get into it. And I'll be honest, I know this stock because I remember the D-SPAC, all right? It wasn't that long ago that this thing was at $10 like every other SPAC, and then just fucking ran, all right? And I try not to curse on these videos so hard. There is nothing else to say except fucking ran, all right? So in the back of my head somewhere, I know that this stock can do some silly things if the time is right. And look, it's actually had a couple decent like movements up. None of them really sustained too well, obviously, but they also weren't like single candle ups and then immediate downs, right? I'm just kind of trying to look at like this one was a few, this one was a few, that one was a few. Like this thing knows how to go up for a few days, you know what I mean? And one more time, it knows how to do incredibly silly things as well, right? So I like knowing what a stock can do because that's important to me. And what's happening now is some interesting things for sure, right? It's been under the 8 and the 20 for a while. We're now looking like the 8 and the 20 are actually our friends. Did we break over this? Oh, badass. Okay, well, you know, one of the things I always say is I want you to get over the biggest candle to the left. I mean, I think there is no denying that this is the biggest candle to the left. You know what I mean? So 50% candle was something. You can see it kind of played in that 50% world for a while. I like that we are over it. MACD is almost at the 0. We're really close. RSI is actually pretty good. Like it's obviously a little higher than ideal, but it's not quite at 70. And you know, I'm not going to get worried until 80, right? So red, green, maybe all the way up to here, right? So this 50 moving average will not be a joke. All right. Just kind of zooming out. Okay, what I see here is this, all right? We definitely break the 50 and run all the way to the 200. However, we can't bounce on the 50 here. So this was definitely a break, but like obviously still an issue. And you can see the 50 actually kind of stopped this right there, right? Even before that, the last time we actually used the 50 as a true bounce, we'll call it September of last year. I would even basically say this one right here. It's been about a year, a little less than a year. You know what I mean? So I'm curious to see what happens with the 50. If we can break the 50, if this thing can break 7, it actually might be a relatively easy run to, let's call it 770, a quick 10% swing. And let's be honest, this 200 moving average is like, I'm not here pretending I know the math, right? But that's a downward line. And I think at some point they're probably going to meet maybe around this 770 number, and crushing 770 could be next level for this stock. Because again, once we're here, right? There's a plateau here. Give me a sec. I just saw, yeah, there's a bit of a plateau right here, right? So we're still here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. There's not too much after this, right? After this 7 something, we're going to kind of start talking about the 10 something, and then from there, other numbers, right? That I don't want to start getting too excited about just yet, right? But this could be interesting, actually. You know what I mean? And I will say most stocks have actually done well from January through today. This one, not so much, but it does still hold a baby uptrend, all right? Maybe this is where it can go. I'm curious here. Look, for sure the money line is 8. I kind of said maybe around this like 780 if this thing kind of keeps going down. But yeah, if this thing can start holding $8, it really could get interesting for QS, all right? Where are we on the weekly? All right, this is not a fantastic weekly, but it's at least doing better than it has since, March at the minimum, right? Struggling to get over the 8, or at least working our way to get over the 8. And again, these 2 lines right here are still kind of telling me $8 is the magic number, right? Obviously, this one's saying 760. This one's saying 830. I'm really just going back to the daily and just this is a zone right here. This is a really hot zone. This just under 8, just over 8, right? And again, just look here, right? If we can get over this, from there, there's a lot of reason to actually believe we might even, actually literally come to the top of this bad boy right here, which is basically the 100 right there, right? So I'm curious here. There's still a lot that needs to happen for me to get extra excited, but MACD's almost positive. RSI is not looking horrible. We've actually held this 20 pretty well, bounced off of it pretty well. We've now been actually 5 days. This day was also over the 8 moving average. We've been over the 8 moving average for a bit here. I'm curious to see what happens from the 50. And one more time, if it breaks the 50, it actually might be a really quick run to this 10% swing. So QS, I'm interested to say the least. Do I have to draw any lines? Are there any lines I can actually draw? I'll be honest with you, not really, because I think the moving averages are the lines that matter. You know what I mean? I have no horizontals to draw. I don't even think there's one here to draw, honestly, not really. So I lied in the intro. Sorry about that. IONQ. Let's take a look at IONQ. Again, this, I believe that Q stands for quantum. Okay, I'm not going to pretend I actually know. But again, this not as good as a chart I would like to see, right? We have definitely lost the 8, and the way I see it in my book, we've actually kind of confirmed that we're under the 8, right? That said, we actually, like textbook, I'm zooming in to see if it literally was. What was the low of the day? Look at that. The low of the day was 890 and the 20 average was 890. We literally come all the way down to the 20 and bounce really, really hard up, right? So maybe in a lot of ways the stock, because look, I always say the 8 and the 20, right? These are best friends, right? You use the 8 as your bounce. You use your 8 as your bounce, and then if you lose it, hopefully you use the 20 as a bounce, right? So I think this 10.8 is going to be a pretty magic number, because if you can break 10.8, you will basically be over the 8 moving average as well. Yeah, I've looked at this stock before, and I'll be honest with you, I wildly regret that I didn't ride this. You know what I mean? I literally said it in a comment today, and I think I said it on a video over the weekend, but I personally feel like I was looking at these quant stocks just a little too early and looked away too early. You know what I mean? So a lot is definitely happening here. Ooh, this is a nice weekly. This is a beautiful weekly, actually, because look, this was a break. I'll be honest, this was a confirm. That's really disappointing that it didn't run, because really that should have kept running. And hopefully this week kind of says, hey, look, it was actually a little bit of a fluke. What is this 10.8 line? Is it, oh shit, 10.8 is a really important line. Oh man, I just went silent there. Yeah, your computer didn't have an issue. I needed to absorb that. Damn. I'm assuming that this was a D-SPAC stock. Oh man, interesting. Okay, interesting. This is an interesting ticker. Oh, I'll be honest. I like, there's a lot flying through my head. The first kind of personal one is, am I going to move money into this one? I'll be honest, but sorry, I was not expecting this to happen. Like I said, look, all these videos are very much unscripted, unrehearsed, and yeah, these are the kind of moments that you see. But give me a second, and I will talk out what I'm thinking in my head. Okay, so that one. Okay, here's where I'm basically at. Again, I actually have $0 and 0 cents in this stock. Okay. 10.8 is for sure an interesting line because, like I said, I'm not here to pretend I know the math, but this 8 moving average is probably going to go down tomorrow, and that's going to put us under the 10.08 line. So if we can break that, in my head, we've broken resistance line and we're gotten ourselves over the 8. From there, this 1144 line, I just drew, where was it? It's not perfect. I'm assuming I just drew it on the top of this guy, okay? I like this 1144 to 1540 channel because all I see is green, 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 red, 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 green, 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 red, 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 green, 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 red, red, red. Like these are just big ass movements, right? Maybe something right there around 13 will stop it, but I would love an entry here, and I'm going to set an alert for 1146, all right? I don't like 5s and 0s. So I'll skip 45 and I'll take 46. I'm not sure, and I'm not going to do it as I'm talking myself through this. I'm not sure, and I don't know. I don't know if it's stupid to not, but I feel like half of me wants to put a 10-9 alert and the other half doesn't. All right, and oh man. I'm gonna wait. I think I'm gonna just wait for 11:45. That's more than a 10%. I can't do that. We're gonna set the alert for 10-9. Whew. All right. I had a fun little moment, and I will be so honest with you. I am wildly excited to look at the 1. All right, I move my money on something I call the 1. We're looking at chart readers right now, right? I'm excited to see what my like little heavier stack looks like, but IONQ looks interesting. Volume's not horrible either, right? Like we're in the heavy millions, so interesting ticker. Interesting for sure. And I'll be honest, I will make a better video the next time I do this. I was very much not ready to see what IONQ looked like, so yeah, there's a lot in my head right now. I can't even pretend, all right? CGC, this is the last one we're going to look at, and this is just horrible. There is so much horrible going on. And look, I know there's a lot of news. I don't even need to talk about. Once we lost this 105 line, all right, that was my all-time low support. And from there, you can just see the devastation, all right? I often say once you lose the all-time low support, you will lose 20% of your money, and then you'll lose 20% after that, and then you'll lose 20% after that until the hand of God literally comes down and like saves this ticker. You know what I mean? We went from 105, you basically lose 20 cents on that, and we're now at this 80 cent 20% loss range, right? And I'm telling you, I know in your head you got to be thinking, how much worse can this thing get? I used to think that as well. The sad thing is there are still 78 more cents this stock can lose. And I'm not here saying that this stock is going to go to 0, all right? No one knows how low this is going to go because, again, we're in all-time lows. There is nothing but black hole abyss. There's nowhere that I can educated put a line and be like, yes, this is where we should bounce. Nah, none of that exists. I know that a 4 RSI sounds so low. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if we stay in single digits. You know what I mean? So bad things happen under the 8 and the 20. We have nowhere been near above it since February. All right. So breaks 8 a little bit, fails the 20. Breaks the 8 a little bit, fails the 20. All we're doing is going away from the 8, right? So be careful here, all right? I know there was a lot of news that happens. I really don't know a lot of the news. I don't even want to pretend what I think because I don't know. I haven't looked here in a long time. But technical-wise, none of this surprises me, for sure, all right? Be careful out there. I appreciate your time, and more than anything, thank you.